Hey everyone, welcome to Two Car Pros. My name is Ryan and today I'm going to show you exactly how to change the front brake pads and rotor for a 2015 Ram 3500. Now this is the big truck, it requires big hardware, but the same know-how as a normal brake job. So let's don some eye protection and gloves, jack up the vehicle, and get into it.
First step is pretty easy, like a regular car. Just turn the brake assembly to a more workable position so we have access to the back of the caliper and caliper mounting bracket. So now we're going to take a 16mm socket and remove this bolt. So when I turn this, you'll notice that this part right here wants to turn. I'll show you how we fix that. Just grab a large pair of channel locks and hold on to the metal portion of this. There we go. And remove that bolt, doing the same thing to the lower. Spinning too, it's okay. There we go. Get that bolt out of there. Now a lot of the time, it'll be really difficult to get this caliper off, so what you can do is just kind of put some pressure on this side before we wiggle the caliper completely off. There we go. See, not so bad. And then we'll store the caliper up and away, and so it can't just dangle by the brake line. Next thing we need to do is remove these two 24mm sockets, link down below in the description. It is an odd size. Hope I can just buzz these off. Not so bad. So once you remove that bolt, the caliper mounting bracket and rotor can come off of the truck, so just be careful. We're going to gingerly take that assembly off. And then we can carefully remove our rotor. I'm wearing gloves because the rotor's pretty warm. It just came into the shop. Make sure this doesn't find your toe and just fully remove it. So here is our brake rotor. It's our brand new rotor, and it's been sitting in a plastic bag made overseas. So they put a little bit of manufacturer's oil on here to prevent corrosion. But we need to wipe that off with some carburetor spray or some solvent. Make sure you clean this very well. Put this massive rotor over. There we go. Do this side. There we go. Our rotor is nice and clean, and now it's ready for the truck. And then before we put the new rotor on, I'm going to go ahead and point out that you want this surface on the hub assembly pretty darn clean. You want it as clean as possible, and if it's not, grab a wire brush or some sort of scouring pad and just make it as clean as you can. We want it nice and flat because if the rotor doesn't sit perfectly on this flange surface, it'll be slightly off and it will cause irregular pad wearing and rotor to wear irregularly, shortening the brake pad's life and its performance. So just make sure this flange is nice and clean. After I've wire brushed it, I'm going to hit it with some brake clean, link down below in the description. Again, we just want to make it as clean as we really can. And then with clean hands, we're going to put on our new rotor. Carefully now. Nice. It looks so much better. And here's a tip from me to you. Go ahead and put the lugs back on, or at least two. This will prevent the rotor from falling off and smashing our toe. And also, it will keep it level to the flange when we put the brake bracket back on for the caliper. There we go. See, it doesn't want to fall off of there. It's nice and lined up. Makes it easier on yourself in the future. So on our workbench here, go ahead and remove our old pads. There we go. And we're going to save at least one of these because we need it for the future. Set those aside. Remove the little clips. They just come right out of there. The next thing I'm going to do is pull out the slides, and they're pretty gross. So get some brake clean those back off. Nice. See how much better that looks? Oh yeah, night and day. And if you have a bottle brush, it's a good idea to clean it down in there. Unfortunately, I'm not sure where mine are. So what we're going to do is take the boot off the slide, place it over this little home there, then get some silicone brake grease, link in the description. Sometimes they come with your pads, not always though. And we're just going to apply it to this shaft, just like that. And then we can replace that to its home, make sure it actuates correctly, which it does, and do the same thing to this one. So here's our brake kit for today. These are made by Power Stop. Pretty darn good brake company. No, I'm not sponsored. I've just used them in the past and like the bang for buck. And inside that kit are the little clips that come with it. So let's put those on now. So what we're gonna do is take some carburetor spray or brake clean, and we're just gonna hose down where those clips sit. We don't want them to be dirty. They don't have to be NASA space clean, but just do your best to get those nice and clean. Do both sides. Now the clips are pretty easy. They just go in like this until they clip into place. And the little ear, the part that sticks out more, faces outboard from the rotor. There you go. There we go. Awesome. Clips replaced. All right, then we can grab two of our brand new super beefy nice brake pads and replace them. No, it doesn't matter which one goes where. They are all exactly the same. So we're just gonna load it in from the outside, making sure you get the ears in their home. Just like that. Yeah, so she looks something like this. Yeah, it looks really good. And now a lot of people are going to be asking me, oh, what about grease? Put grease on it, do grease. I don't like putting grease on here. You're welcome to if you feel comfortable doing that. I don't like that because grease gets runny and potentially gets on your braking surfaces, which kind of defeats the purpose, right? There we go. Seems like it's a little easier to get one side in first and then try to do the other. There we go. Nice. Okay, so when it's ready to go back on the truck, it should look something like this. But the truck's not ready for us just yet, so let's go deal with that. So next what we're gonna do is take the caliper and just flip it over. Then we're gonna place one of our old brake pads in there. Make sure you use an old one. And then I have this tool that's going to help me out, linked down below in the description. And you can also use just a C-clamp or channel clocks or anything like that. And we're just going to slowly wind this in. What we're doing is backing this piston back into its home, so that way we have enough clearance for the new pads and rotor material. See, with a dual setup, you can just kind of twist one, twist the other, and just keep backing this down. And then you get to this stage where the pistons aren't getting retracted anymore. Stop. You don't want to damage anything. And you can tell that it's been fully retracted when you take this off. And this surface is more or less completely flush. It's protruding just a little teeny tiny bit, but it's totally fine. If we can't get the brakes on, I would revisit this, but I think it's going to be just okay. Just have this recessed as far back as you possibly can. Alrighty, so now we're ready to put our caliper mounting bracket back on. And look how nice it goes on because the rotor is being held for us. Just like that. Now, you might notice I've already put red Loctite on the bolt. I'm going to go ahead and start threading that in. Do the same thing for the lower one. Just going to bring them down evenly. Now these are 24-headed millimeter bolts. They're extremely big for a brake assembly. As a result, the torque spec is pretty big. It is 200 to 250 foot-pounds. I was finding all sorts of different answers for that, but this is the one I found in the workshop manual for this truck. So I'm going to set it to 200. There we go. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and set it to 250. There we go. And link down below in the description for a torque wrench if you need one. I would also call that 2-arm tight, just in case you don't have one. They're pretty darn tight. Do tighten those down. Alrighty, now my favorite part of any brake job. There's just something so satisfying about pressing the pads onto the rotor and making sure everything is going to go back together smoothly. Now we can grab our caliper, making sure the brake line isn't getting twisted, and place that back onto our assembly. You also will most likely have to push these slides in a little bit if it's not going for you. There we go. That's perfect. Place our bolts, and wind these bolts down 16 millimeters. I'm not tightening them just yet, I'm just bringing them down to touch. Then I can grab my torque spec. And the torque spec for that is 55 foot-pounds. There we go. And that's it. So now we're going to hop in the driver's seat and just depress the brake pad down. And what we're doing is reintroducing the pads to the rotor because we introduced air in between the pad and the rotor. Not air in the brake system. You don't need to bleed the system. What we need to do is just pump the brakes a little bit, slowly down and slowly back up until we get a very firm pedal. Typically, this is like anywhere from 3 to 6 good full range pumps until you get a very firm pedal. And there we go.
Now hang on, wait a second before you get in the truck and just take off down the freeway. You need to bed your brake pads. Sometimes it's called breaking in your brake pads. And on the website for these pads, here are the instructions for you. I've printed those out. It's also on the box. Now, if your brake pads didn't come with instructions, a lot of them don't. You have to break in your brake pads manually. And the way I would do that is I would just kind of drive around your neighborhood a little bit, accelerate up to 10 miles an hour, and just touch the brakes and slow down to about 5 miles an hour, and then release. And what you're doing is you are breaking off the new surfaces on the pads and the rotors. You're introducing those surfaces together, because if you don't do that, the brakes will develop a bit of a glaze on there and will prevent your brake from working as well as it really should be, and you're gonna have to do the job again. So breaking in your brake pads is paramount, and if your pads come with instructions, great, follow those. But if they don't, I would introduce those brake pads very carefully. So I would accelerate up to 10 miles an hour, and then brake down to 5 and let go. And that's gonna create a little bit of dust, and it's going to kind of foof off of there, and it's going to reintroduce, and it's gonna break those surfaces in together. I would do that at least 20 times, at least, and I would just keep doing that. And then once you've done that 20 times, from 10 down to 5, I would do it again from like 30 down to 10, again, 20 more times, and then your brakes are properly broken in, and you can go enjoy your vehicle as normal. So that is how to replace the front brakes on a 2015 Ram 3500 four-wheel drive, the big truck. Now, because it's the diesel, it's the four-wheel drive truck, this would normally cost you at a dealer quite a bit of money. They kind of upcharge you. I'm sure, as you know, if you own this truck, they upcharge you because it's the big truck and it takes a little bit more effort to work on these things, but as you just saw, it's exactly the same as a regular brake job. You could totally do this in your garage, on your driveway, something like that. Just be smart and make sure that you break in those brakes like I had mentioned earlier. Thank you so very much for watching. If you have any questions, please visit our website, twocarpros.com, and you can also become a member down below by clicking that join button. It's a direct way to help the channel out. Barring that, a like, comment, and subscription go a huge way in telling YouTube that I did a good job, and I'd so appreciate that as well. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.